All right, still morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm very grateful to be here this morning. I want to thank Commissioner Brandon Johnson, Broadview Mayor Katrina Thompson, as well as the Cook County Department of Transportation and Highways Superintendent Killen for joining me today. Thank you. Cook County's extensive transportation network is one of our greatest assets. Roads, bridges, pedestrian and bicycle paths, as well as railways, all play essential roles in transporting people and commodities safely and efficiently. It's the county's responsibility to ensure that these important modes of transportation remain safe and in good condition. In line with that mission, in 2017, we launched the Invest in Cook program, which allows municipalities to advance much-needed transportation infrastructure improvements that not only enhance the quality of life for residents, but allow for economic development opportunities as well. Today, we are excited to announce the recipients of the 6th round of Invest in Cook grants. During this round of funding for improvements, we will see improvements on Roosevelt Road between 9th and 17th Avenues. You know what? I apologize. I just went from the first to the third page, so let's try the second page here in the middle. Invest in Cook was first introduced as a way for the county to implement priorities of Connecting Cook County, which is our long-range transportation plan that guides where and how transportation investments are made and attract and retain businesses, people, capital, and talent. Invest in Cook serves as an important start for much-needed projects. Funding provided by this program helps our local partners cover the costs associated with projects that may otherwise have languished. No matter how big or small, these projects are fundamental for connecting communities to each other and to economic opportunities. It's important to note this year, over 50% of the grant funding is directed toward projects in low and moderate income communities. Cook County's Department of Transportation and Highways, under the leadership of Superintendent Killen, is awarding just over $8.9 million to help fund projects throughout Cook County. Sis is the county's first female superintendent and has been a vital voice on transportation-related projects within the region for a decade. We thank her for her good work. In the program's 6 years, we've awarded $48.7, that's almost $50 million in grants, in a total of 205 awards across the county. These efforts represent our commitment to invest in projects that are critical to improving our communities. The county's infrastructure must continue to be upgraded. And this year, 2 transit, 11 bicycle, 16 pedestrian, and 1 freight, as well as 13 road projects will receive funding. Superintendent Killen will speak more about some of these recipients and projects receiving funding this year. Our work in the village of Broadview is a shining example. Broadview, which is represented by Mayor Thompson, is a past and present Cook County, Invest in Cook County recipient. The village was awarded $122,000 in this round of funding for improvements to Roosevelt Road between 9th and 17th Avenues. This project will enhance pedestrian safety and provide improved local access to transit while supporting local businesses. We appreciate the partnership of Mayor Thompson and look forward to hearing more from her shortly. Equal access to opportunities shouldn't depend on where you live. Every Cook County resident should be afforded safe, accessible, reliable, and affordable options for travel throughout the county. Making equitable investments has been and will continue to be a top priority for my administration. I'd like to congratulate all the 2022 Invest in Cook recipients. Now, I'd like to invite to the podium Commissioner Brandon Johnson to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam President, and good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Brandon Johnson, Cook County Commissioner of the 1st District, and let me just congratulate President Preckwinkle and her leadership of millions of dollars contributing to something as dynamic as transportation. Now, President Preckwinkle and I share a profession as public school teachers, and as many of you know, that after the Civil War, there were 5 major areas that the formerly enslaved needed access to, and transportation was one of them, besides education and healthcare and jobs. And creating opportunities for families to be able to move from one point of the district or county to another point, it's a matter of justice and opportunity. To be perfectly frank with you, it's getting harder and harder to live in in communities that have been disinvested in over decades. And so these investments are righting the wrongs of past failures, and it is making good on the promise of individuals who hoped for a better tomorrow. And so we are the beneficiaries in of that struggle in this country. And so I'm grateful to leaders in the First District, like Mayor Katrina Thompson, who has had the foresight to make sure that we're investing in our infrastructure, creating connections so that families can get to work, so that families can get to school, so that families can connect with one another. And so these investments are not just simply a number on a line. It's a matter of creating opportunities that could be the matter of life and death for families by having access to something as simple as a W-2. And so we are grateful that the county is committed to destroying and dismantling barriers that have left people stratified for decades. And now we're opening up opportunities that, again, that our ancestors could only dream of. And so with that, I would like to bring another history maker, as President Preckwinkle has already indicated, the first woman to lead the Department of Transportation and Highways. They call her Superintendent Killen, but she is more affectionately known as Sis.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, for those kind words, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Madam President, thank you for your vision and your direction that has helped shape the work that we've been able to accomplish here in the Department of Transportation and Highways. I would like to thank Commissioner Johnson for your support of all of our efforts to create a more equitable transportation infrastructure in Cook County. And to Broadview Mayor Katrina Thompson, thank you for partnering with us to prioritize the transportation needs of your community. I'm incredibly proud of the work of my team that has worked so diligently to ensure that this essential funding was made available for now a 6th year. As Madam President had stated, this year's Invest in Cook grants will fund 2 transit, 11 bicycle, 16 pedestrian, 1 freight, and 13 road projects across 39 municipalities and 3 townships within unincorporated Cook. These grants help municipalities and townships further by providing the necessary funding that they need for planning, engineering, right-of-way acquisition, and construction that's associated with these transportation infrastructure improvements. Invest in Cook allows the county to actively support our local partners in their efforts to build and maintain comprehensive transportation networks that address their local priorities. The program strengthens relationships with our regional partners to make Cook County a better place for all residents. The county is home to a diverse group of people, and the projects that we support reflect that. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight a few of our 2022 recipients today. We believe that robust public transit is essential to the county's vibrancy. One of this year's grantees is the Village of Linwood. The village will study the feasibility of creating a transit connection between Linwood and the nearby Hazelcrest Metro Electric Station, and this is going to ensure that residents can easily access transit stations and bus routes. Several key bike trail segments are also being funded in this year's program. In Alsip, a new trail segment will be added to the CalSag Trail, connecting the completed 13-mile western half of the trail to the eastern portion via Freedom Park. The CalSag Trail will eventually stretch to 26 miles across southern Cook County, from the Sag Quarries in Lamont to the Burnham Greenway near the Indiana border. The first 13 miles opened in June of 2015, and this new connection will improve safety by eliminating the need for some of the on-street travel and will also provide for new improved pedestrian safety crossings. Vital local roadways and bridge structures are also being rehabilitated through the 2022 Invest in Cook program. For example, the City of Northlake was awarded funding for the construction to remove and replace the superstructure, which is basically its bridge deck, of the Hurst Street Bridge over Addison Creek. Invest in Cook plays a critical role in bringing the final funding that's needed to bring projects like the $1 million Hurst Street Bridge to completion. This proposed bridge deck replacement is greatly going to increase the bridge's sufficiency and condition ratings, but more importantly, it's going to add an additional 50 years onto the life of that structure. Many projects that receive Invest in Cook funding simply help improve the quality of life and mobility in these areas while supporting the businesses that choose to make Cook County communities their home. Broadview is a prime example. Here to discuss this year's Invest in Cook grant for that community is Katrina Thompson, Mayor of the Village of Broadview. Mayor?
Good morning or afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, today I am joined with our Public Works Director, Matthew Ames, and our foreman, Jeff Glenn. The Village of Broadview has carefully developing the Roosevelt Road Streetscape Development Plan for years, and we've identified it as a priority project for investment because it aligns with the 21st century's vision to promote and prioritize alternative travel, safety, and aesthetics as a means to both enhance the quality of life and draw economic development and new residents to Broadview. Roosevelt Road in Broadview is a highly traveled area by foot, by bicycle, by motor vehicle. Implementing our three-phase Roosevelt Streetscape Improvement Project in Broadview will help ensure the safety of pedestrians, bicyclists, motorists alike who are traveling through our community. And the project will support alternative, healthy travel beyond motorized vehicles for tens of thousands of residents and visitors that use this road daily. The goals of Cook County Invest program assist local governments to develop a comprehensive transportation network while enhancing safety and offering alternative travel means, aligns ideally with Broadview's Roosevelt Road Streetscape and Bicycle Plan. As mayor of the Village of Broadview, in behalf of our community, I would like to thank Cook County Department of Transportation and Highways, Cook County Commissioner Brandon Johnson, and our Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle for the county's confidence in Broadview and their support through the $120,000 grant for the Broadview's 21st century vision of reimagining transportation infrastructure. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Actually, Mayor, if I can ask you one question first. That is, in other words, with the current condition, what has been the problem for the village with that corridor?
I'm going to ask Director Ames to answer that question.
Okay, then can you say and spell your name before you answer?
My name is Matthew Ames, Public Works Director for the Village of Broadview. I believe your question, sir, was
Without, in other words, the existing conditions, without this kind of development in the streetscape, what is the issue for Broadview? What is the lack?
well, obviously, funding for most capital outlay projects have been most of our challenge. I'm happy that this preliminary engineering grant allows us to be shovel-ready for any funding that may come down through the federal or state levels for the reconstruction of this project. So funding has been the municipality's biggest challenge when it comes to addressing these issues, most certainly on state roads. So.
How much do you think this development will spur more development and more activity in the area?
Well, 8 years ago, we transformed Roosevelt Road in the same manner that we're proposing now. And the activities and construction activities associated with that has greatly improved. As a matter of fact, I'm not here to quote numbers, but we have quite a few number of businesses that have seen the activities on Roosevelt Road that have begun to make acquisitions for vacant properties. So this is really a first step in revitalizing the corridor, should I say the second phase, or the first step in the second phase for the continued revitalization from 9th Avenue to 25th Avenue, which happens to be the jurisdictional authority for the Village of Broadview. So.
Thank you. Now, Madam President,
Thank you.
using that as kind of an example, what is your hope for the kinds of developments that you hope to see occur around these projects?
You know, well, transportation projects are infrastructure, and they're part of the foundation of economic development. So if you provide people with better access to public transit and better public transit facilities, it enables them to get to work or to school or their doctor's appointments more conveniently. If you provide better roadways and do street improvements of various kinds, you make your retail districts more attractive. So the kinds of projects that we've supported contribute to economic development in the communities that they're located in, as well as the broader Cook County constituency. So as an alderman of the city of Chicago, I was always very supportive of infrastructure projects, and of course in my present job as president of the county board, I've continued in that role. And I want to thank Mrs. Killen and her predecessor, John Yonan, in particular, for their good work in this arena.
And I have a semi-off-topic question, so you want to come back to me? Or red line further south. They're going to use a transit TIF for that. They're trying to create a new transit TIF. And there are some complaints from some aldermen who are saying this is basically taking money from one section of the city and spending it on another, and they're a little uncomfortable with that. What is your feeling about these kinds of TIFs and what they can do or what they should be doing?
Well, I created TIFs when I was an alderman in the 4th Ward, and we used them mostly for affordable housing developments. The renovation and revitalization of Chicago Housing Authority sites, of which I had a number in my ward. We did one retail TIF on 53rd Street to promote redevelopment. That's 53rd Street in Hyde Park is one of the few successful retail strips on the south side. But we use the resources to enhance it, and I think it's a much more vibrant place now as a result of those TIF investments than it was before. So I believe in TIFs as a economic development tool. You reminded me of the story this morning, which I hadn't had a chance to read. So I think I'll reserve judgment on these. You know, the county, because we're a taxing body, has to sign off on these, and usually it's pretty pro forma. But, you know, I would ask my team to look at it. I believe in public transit. I think, as I said at the beginning of this, you know, public transit is critical to our communities, and we put in place a fair transit plan after we did our long-range transportation plan, because we discovered that the south side of Chicago and the south suburbs were transit deserts relative to other parts of the county. And so we've put money into Metra and PACE to reduce fares on the Metro Electric and Rock Island lines within the city to CTA levels. So it's the same fare as CTA on Metro Electric and Rock Island in the city. And we dramatically reduce fares both on Metro Electric and Rock Island in the south suburbs to give people who are in the most transit deficit areas more reasonable opportunities to use public transit. And in the case of PACE, we put money into the Halstead bus line, which is their most heavily utilized line, so that they could increase service. They could have more frequent service. So I believe in public transit. I know that the head of the Chicago Transit Authority for a long time has been looking for resources to extend the red line. I think that red line extension is a great idea. In the interval, of course, we'll continue to promote things like our Fair Transit Plan, which provides people both to the east and west of the Dan Ryan and the red line that goes down the middle with other transit options.
Off topic, Madam Preckwinkle, if you would, as you're probably well aware, a number of high-ranking state's attorneys or supervisors have left. Jim Murphy, when he departed, had raised some serious concerns about Kim Fox's office, saying the administration is more concerned with political narratives and agendas than with victims and prosecuting violent crime. That's why I can't stay any longer. He called the mission values and vision just a PR stunt. Do you think there is any merit to Jim Murphy's concerns, or is this a disgruntled employee going out the door with flaming arrows?
I don't know Jim Murphy personally, and I strongly disagree with his contentions about the state's attorney's office.
Do you have any concerns at a broader level about numerous supervisors or senior level people?
What's numerous?
Well, you have Natasha Tolley, you have Ted Lagerwell, you have Murphy, there's another one who's rumored to be leaving soon to go out to McHenry County.
You know, I think both the state's attorneys and the public defender's offices are places where people can get considerable and important experience as lawyers. And they often, some people are lifers in the state's attorney or the public defender's office, but many spend a tour of duty there and then go into private practice or other opportunities. I think that's pretty common, both, as I said, both for public defenders and state's attorneys.
So you don't think there is a problem in that office that would require you to maybe have a conversation with Kim Fox, or have you talked to her?
You know, it's ironic that the gentleman you referred to, Mr. Murphy, is accusing the state's attorney of being political, because the comments that he made sound pretty political to me. No, I don't have any comment further.
You don't have any reason, do you think, to talk to Kim Fox about what's going on in the office?
No. Thank you.